no one actually talks about.
With someone who's been in the trenches.
What the heck is it?
Your call to actions where they need to be.
What makes a button sticky?
No, we're not going down that direction. When you're in this industry, you see things a certain way.
Very interesting, the psychology of people that way.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of GetWyse, the podcast where we dive into the strategy, stories, and digital know-how behind some of the smartest marketing moves in the game. I'm your host, Chris.
I'm Kelly.
And ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking CRO, that stands for conversion rate optimization, with someone who's been in the trenches, testing and tweaking and transforming and underperforming websites into conversion machines. You may have known him as a guy that works here. Technically, he's a guy that podcasts here now too, because he is a friend of the show. You've seen this man before, Robert Rego. How you doing, Robert?
Good. This is a topic I am pretty passionate about because it's one that no one actually talks about.
So let's talk about it.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room, in every room.
Yes.
CRO.
100%.
Can you first lay it down for us? What the heck is it?
Like I'm five or something.
Yeah, break it down.
So CRO is conversion rate optimization. And a lot in this industry, we use a lot of Bing words, CPL and all these things. But conversion rate optimization is just better understanding how you can get people across the finish line faster.
Okay.
So one of the examples that I use all the time, it's kind of a real world example, is just how retail stores work. Think about grocery stores, think about clothing stores. The way that they lay things out in a very specific way is getting you to buy things, right? So for example, the most common one is if you think about a grocery store, right? Before you check out, there's a lot of quick things to grab off the rack.
Yep.
Or if you're looking at a sale, sometimes it's right at the front of the store to get you to kind of draw in, and then you'll get to kind of navigate to the rest of the store. So it's all about how things are positioned. If you look at it from a website perspective, it's really about, are your call to actions where they need to be? Is the phone number there? As you scroll on mobile, is the header sticky as you scroll through? So it's really about, if it takes someone 5 clicks to contact you, conversion rate optimization, the sole goal of it is to get that from 5 clicks to 3 or 2, whatever it is. It's about positioning it to get conversions faster and easier.
Okay, so you threw out some words there that I just want to loop back on. What makes a button sticky?
Yeah, so I think what's really interesting, again, this is why it's so
important distinctions here.
Yeah, it's very important. And I know I don't want to throw out like technical terms, but you know when you're on a phone, you're just scrolling through, and that top logo and the little hamburger menu, and the phone number and the button is sticking to you as you scroll up. That section is always there. That's what we call like a sticky header. So as someone is scrolling through it, if you think about it this way, if you're going through the homepage, the content's really compelling, and someone's like, you know what, I think I'm going to contact this business for my thing. They don't have to then scroll up all the way to the top. That header is there saying, you know what, I'm just going to call them from here, or hey, I can just fill out a form from here without needing to scroll up. And that's what conversion rate optimization is making sure you get them across the finish line faster than you could do it before.
So user experience is obviously crucial here when it comes to conversion rate, but when did you kind of get into the world of CRO or start using it in your career? Tell us a little bit about like how you got introduced to this concept and started doing it for yourself.
Yeah, I think one of the things, and I think I talked about this in the last podcast as well, but I've been in this industry for almost 13 years. The first 5 years were more web development, project management. So I was working with clients specifically on their website, coding in HTML and understanding the approaches of there. I think what really piqued my interest doing this was actually, when you're in this industry, you see things a certain way. What I would do, and a trick of the trade I would actually do, is actually give my clients' websites to someone that's not in the industry and say, hey, why don't you just go through this website and try to contact them and just maybe call them or figure out a way to actually contact that person and track how they navigate.
Right.
Because someone in our industry, they're going to know all the tricks of the trades, where to look, where to go, all that stuff. So I would literally give it to my wife and just say, contact this client and figure out what they do. And then take notes as they're going through it and saying, how was that process? How did it feel for you? Do you understand what the website's trying to do?
Was there any friction in that experience where like you got a little lost or you couldn't find something that seemed like it should be easy to find?
And that feedback is so valuable because it's coming from someone who's not an expert.
Right.
Right. And so you're seeing, why is she clicking here? Or why is she searching in this section? It's really valuable content when you're trying to understand. Maybe it's just I'm seeing things differently because I'm so in the industry, where someone who's not is just going to go through their normal navigation.
Yeah.
Another thing that we like to do, or I try to get clients to do, is install something like Crazy Egg or Hotjar.
Okay.
And these are tools that actually create like a heat map that actually show where you're hovering, where the clicks are, which is called a confetti map. These are all valuable pieces of information because there's a psychology side of it, which which I just talked about, but there's actually a technological side of it and seeing like, where are people hovering? Where are people trying to click to get to? It's usually an indication of what decisions you need to make when you're looking at your website.
So I want to talk a little bit more about the psychology of how people are using sites and the way that people should be designing sites for their customers. Obviously, with different demographics per client, that might change a little bit with what the user needs or kind of what they might be prone to seeing a button on a certain side or in a certain color, or maybe even the size of the font needs to be different because you've got an audience that's maybe older and hard of seeing or something like that. What are some of those things that need to be in consideration when you're figuring out the best way to optimize a site?
Yeah, I think one of the most common and boiling it down into almost as simple factors is when you look at something like based on industry. So the most common was like a plumber. Let's just take a plumber, for example.
Yep.
A lot of the things with plumbers is emergency services. I have something that's flooding,
You're typically contacting them when you're like, I'm in the trenches right now.
You're in a crisis mode while you're navigating it.
Exactly.
So I don't care about your blog. I want to know.
But a lot of the recommendations we'd make in those situations is like, okay, if emergency is your number one conversion point, right? You really want to make your call to actions, either call, phone number, you really want to display it, available 24/7.
Yep.
For call to actions, make them red, right? Because what do you associate with red?
Emergency.
Yep. Right? So it's the small things like that that really stick out, even though sometimes that red may clash with the brand. If that's your primary focus, highlight it, right? And it's small things like that advertise, we're available at any time, 24/7 service. And even when we were talking about the sticky header earlier, is having that available in the header. So when someone pulls up their phone, because a lot of times they're not going to be like, let me grab to my desktop to go, they're not, right?
Yeah, they're pulling out their phone and making a quick call.
And that's the most boiled down version of CRO when you're looking at, okay, what's going to draw their attention? How are they looking? Where are they looking? Right? And some of the tools I mentioned, like Crazy Egg and Hotjar, will kind of help you make more mathematical decisions on there. But it's a lot of common sense, right? When you look at emergency services, you'd start with the red and have those in the header. Those are your most common practices when you're looking at CRO.
And then I know that with A/B testing, there's also the process of us putting out a red button, but also putting out a green button and seeing what people are responding to more to further prove a theory that we might have of the psychology of how people are using it. What's your experience with that A/B testing? Yeah,
this is probably the most interesting part of it when you're dealing with customers. Is a lot of the times when you look at a website, you can come up with 6, 7, 8 recommendations. Try this, try the button header, the color, the font sizes, whatever it is. A lot of the times clients will jump and say, okay, let's do all of them.
Right.
The problem is you can't learn anything from that, because what happens if you come in, let's say your conversion rate is 2%, which is in most common is the most industry average.
Okay.
You make 8 wholesale changes, your conversion rate stays the same. What have you learned? Right? You could say of 3 or 4 of those aspects, those were winners, but the other 4 were losers. So you've kind of counterbalanced it up. You really want to A/B test by doing 1 or 2 things and then compile things. Same would apply for when you're doing like ads, right? Paid ads is the most common thing, right? When you're doing meta ads or you're doing Facebook, you're doing anything, you want to run 2 different styles and see which one wins. The same would apply to conversion rate optimization when you're saying, okay, this month we have tools that will show and say, okay, we're going to try these 2 things. Let's see if there's an incremental increase, or if there's a decrease, we know that doesn't work. So we make adjustments.
And it could be something as simple as changing the copy from an ad or on the website, or changing like an image. So if you're testing a theory, we think people will be more responsive to like a cartoon image versus a real human image, or something that's more design infographic heavy. All of those things can be tested, right?
Yeah. And I think I keep on bringing it back to the plumber's example because I've done this with a client recently, and they always did stock images of a plumber under a sink, like doing the whole gestures.
Seen many of those.
But we replaced the homepage banner with a picture of the team and the trucks and showing the size of it. Conversion rate went up.
Of course.
When we actually did in the header, we actually tweaked the promotions that they had. And then what we've learned is, which promotions are drawing people in, because we actually can look in analytics and see when are people clicking? How are they clicking? Is the click-through rate higher on certain promotions and certain times of the year? That's what you should be doing with your website. That's what you should be challenging your agency to do, to understand is, what are we learning? What compounding things are we learning every month to get better, to get that perfect mix? Right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, we know during the summer, these are the promotions that we're doing because we know statistically that's what works.
Right.
Or this color works. And these are things that you should be challenging yourself to do if you own your website and you manage it yourself, or if you have an agency that's helping you. Consistently try to challenge those ideas and continue to test them.
So I think that's one of the best things about CRO, though, is that it's not just us making assumptions based on psychology or our biases or things like that. There's actual data that backs up a lot of these decisions. When we're testing things, we're seeing, no, actually, there's proof this many people liked or clicked this rather than this. Like there's data you can go back to.
You're almost like an anthropologist. I don't know.
There's
Do you know
proof in
like
the data.
when I'm about to scratch my head or something like that? You're just like,
I already know you did it 5 minutes ago, so there's probably another one coming.
Yeah.
You kind of break it down.
yeah, things like that.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. The psychology of people that way.
Yeah.
In the last episode, we talked about how you've built a great team here at TechWyse. And when it comes to CRO, what do you usually talk to them about when they're dealing with clients, and kind of what you've been mentoring them in terms of understanding what CRO is and how they can help clients?
You explained it to us like we're five,
Yeah.
but like to another marketing professional, like, how would you go about that?
Honestly, it's the same way.
Yeah.
It honestly is
All
the same
5-year-olds.
way. Yeah. You know what it is because a lot of people in the industry overthink things, right? Well, based on my experience, thus this.
Right.
So the example I gave earlier of giving it to someone that doesn't really work in the industry, I try to tell the account managers, guys, take a step back, take your head out of the digital marketing and just go through the site yourself.
Just be a human.
And just be normal and just try to figure out like the basics 3 steps of like who they are, how do I contact them, can I contact them easily or go through the mobile? The problem is that people overthink things and they're like, oh, I don't like the title header and that's what's turning me off. It's not.
Right.
Guys, it's just the header's not sticky. The things aren't there. It's not easily accessible. It's all common sense. And I said this, I think in the last thing, it's common sense a lot of the time. And we tend to overanalyze things to make a conclusion that's some philosophical moment. It's really not. It's just take a step back, take a look at it, and see what you take away from it.
It's not that deep.
No, it really is not that deep. Now you can go deep if you have things like those tools, like I mentioned, that will give you the statistics and numbers to back your case up. That's fine. But when you're doing an initial analysis, you want to take that, that, I don't know how you want to word it, 10-foot step back, 1 mile view, whatever you want to do.
Just be a person using a website.
Just be a person and use a website, or give it to someone like literally at home and say, hey, I've been staring at the site for 3 years.
I'm too close to it.
I'm too close to the sun. And I think, what do you think? It's a really important factor, and you can actually learn a lot just by doing that.
Do you think a lot of our clients and people you've worked with are so close to their website because they look at it all the time, or they maybe helped build it, or their cousin, sister's brother helped build it, and they've been looking at the same branding and everything for so long that sometimes they need a digital marketing agency or someone else to point these things out because they're just way too attached?
All the time.
Yeah.
And I think you have to understand what their approach is.
Yeah.
A lot of clients, it's really split down the middle. Some are just purely philosophical, like I believe that this is the best approach.
Right. Mhm.
And the other one is show me the data and then I'll make the change.
Right.
So, but again, when you're a business
What do you
owner,
prefer?
Yeah, I mean, I always lean the way of show me the numbers because it's hard to disprove numbers, right? If you implement something and your conversion rate goes from 2 to 5%,
boom.
I mean,
Undeniable.
now we've taken our feelings out of it and we've just made a decision from that. Right?
Men lie, women lie. Numbers don't.
Yeah, the numbers don't, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it. But you can build a nice base case for yourself by using the psychology best practices, most common things that you see. But the numbers always help us.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and like you said, there's obviously common trends for different industries. Are there any other common industries, such as plumbing, that you've seen some of these things work really well for?
I wouldn't say industry specific. Off the top of my head, I think, I kind of always lean on a sense of urgency depending on the vertical. One of the more common one is get a quick quote now or something like that, specifically in things like the mortgage fields and stuff like that, where there's definitely a sense of urgency when someone's shopping around and
or a mortgage calculator, like something like that, right? Where there's like a tool. If you're going onto the website, you're maybe looking to take a next step. Maybe it's not just contacting. Maybe it's I want to get a.
There's some research done in the site like that. I think that's definitely a great example of taking that next level and understanding what's going to create that stickiness to be able to get that application. It's hard to be specific because with CRO, you can't just say, well, you're in, animal control.
Right.
Thus, these are the best practices, because if the site is not in a great position, you may not be able to apply all that. Right. If the content's not there, there's a lot of different factors that go into it. So that's why I never say
there's no blanket statement for.
And that applies to a lot of things. I mean, I not to get too off topic, but I had a client call yesterday and they just said, I'm interested in doing digital marketing. What are your prices? And I go,
it's not that simple.
I can't just be like $1,000. No, we don't know, right? Like you have to, where are you located? Where's your growth points? Like,
10 SEOs for $100.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like you can't, it's like you going out and saying, I want to eat something, right? Do you want a $100 meal? Do you want a $5 meal? Right. It's all about what you're feeling and what your approach is. It's hard to be like industry these are the 5 things to do. It just doesn't apply that way.
It's got to be customized.
It has to be.
Especially, I think with certain industries or certain companies specifically, if in that kickoff meeting that one of their biggest challenges is that people are always asking us where we're located, then maybe that becomes a bigger priority of where to put that information on the website, right? Yeah. Whereas for the same industry but a different business, maybe it's not, maybe everyone knows where they're located.
Exactly, yeah. There's just a lot of factors that go into it, and I think with our approach here is we try to be very upfront with what the approach is. The problem with a lot of clients is that their website is their baby. Yeah. And you want to kind of be gentle, right? Like, I've had some websites that need, you make the comment of like, your website needs a facelift. It's like, well, I think your website needs a body lift. Yeah. But like but you have to be cautious, right? Yeah. You don't want to offend a client, especially early on, but you also want to be able to be sympathetic, to be like, hey guys, do you want to grow your business? Right? And it's like a lot of business owners will say, of course, yes. Yeah. Right? And you say, okay, if you want to grow your business, you have to do this.
Well, and they don't always know what's hurting them or harming them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's our job to kind of
guide the way.
Show
this is the way, as a great man once said.
Yes. All right, Robert, we've talked a lot about a lot of different things under the umbrella of a CRO. But if there's anybody who's watching or listening who is wondering now if their website is optimized correctly for conversions and are starting to consider, hey, maybe I need to get some extra help here, what next steps should they take?
Yeah, I think the series that we're going to be doing on the social media side is we're going to be doing kind of free CRO website audits for clients that leave their website in the comments. Free. But even through TechWyse, we do want to encourage clients to contact us to, we can kind of build them, a report on what you guys should do and kind of best practices for your website, especially if you're looking to kind of manage and optimize your website. We have no problem with that. We can obviously talk to you about other stuff, but we really want to kind of encourage clients to better understand and optimize and run their businesses better. So we're going to be doing a series on our Instagram channel, I believe.
Yes. We sure are. Yes. We'll plug at TechWyse.
Insert social media icon somewhere here. Yeah. But we want to run a series where people can leave their link to their website. We'll kind of do a full run through of what we think you need to be doing. And again, like I said, a lot of it is common sense, but when you're so close to your website, you may not realize these things are important.
Amazing. So we'll get that going, get that series going, and we'll make sure that everybody listening is aware of when that gets launched. But Robert, thank you so much for sitting down with us once again, giving us all these golden nuggets.
Friend of the show.
Show.
We're going to need you back to complete the trilogy.
I know. What are we going to do in part 3?
Listen, I want to be Return of the Jedi. Like, you got to finish off the series the right way.
100%.
None of this Force Awakens stuff.
No, we're not going down that direction. Pre-Disney. But I think for me, like, this is great, obviously, for our brand and building and everything, but I really want to help clients. Yeah. I think, and even people that are not working with us, we really want to help them understand to grow their business online and the importance of it all. Yep. So I think it's great that we're really focusing on trying to help clients.
Amazing.
Yep.
All right. If you are looking for help with CRO or have any questions, feel free to reach out to us and stay tuned for that series.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another edition of GetWyse. Friend of the show, Robert, obviously giving us so many great insights. He will be back, and we will also be back with another episode for you guys. Thank you for tuning in and listening. We'll be back.
See ya.
Bye, guys.